Okay, so today we're gonna make some steak fajitas. We got some skirt steak here. We're gonna go ahead and marinate this. The reason I want to do some fajitas is I'm trying out this new fajita blend that we're working on. We gotta make sure we get all 4 of these rubs perfect before we start to sell them. So today we're gonna try this blend out, so let's get started. All right, so like I said, we have this new fajita rub that we're working on. For this recipe, I'm gonna attach the recipe we've used in the past for our skirt steak. This new rub is gonna be very similar, but we've added some chipotle and some ancho chili flavor as well. I want this rub to be able to stand alone on meat or veggies to bring some awesome flavor. But I also want to be able to make an awesome marinade like we are here with the rub. So we're adding some of this rub with some lime juice and olive oil to give it a liquid consistency. I think that's the ideal way to marinate this skirt steak. We're also going to add in a handful of cilantro, and we're adding some jalapenos to this as well. You can see when I go to mix it up, it's more of a paste than a liquid, so I added a little bit more olive oil. Give that a good mix and let's start this marinade. I like to use a Ziploc bag. I think it works much better than any kind of bowl or container. So here we're going to do just that, and hopefully you don't struggle as much as I did to simply put it in the bag. We're going to carefully pour this in the bag. Try not to spill any of this flavor waterfall as you pour it in. Squeeze all the air out of the bag, and now it's time to mix. And it's important to make sure every inch of this steak is covered in the marinade. With skirt steak especially, you can really work the flavors into the meat with a little TLC. And there are a few different methods you can use, like the masseuse, the organist, the pong method, the pizza toss, or the wood, fire, and whiskey slap method, which is simply slapping the flavors into it. Place that in the fridge to marinate, and let's cut up these vegetables. We have here 1 onion, 1 green bell pepper, and 1 red bell pepper. If you like to have tomatoes in your fajitas, by all means add some tomatoes, but I'm just honestly not a big fan. We're going to start with the green bell pepper. Start by cutting around the edge of the pepper, rolling it out so that nothing is left but the core. Then I'm going to lay this pepper out and cut it into thin strips. Many of you have asked about this new knife we're using, and I'm working on a full review of the knife, but so far I'm absolutely loving it. It's from Bear Creek Knives, and you can find a link to that in the description below. This may look like a lot of vegetables we're cutting up here, and it kind of does. However, it never fails that at the end of this, I'm always having less vegetables than I thought it would be. These are going to shrink up so much, and it's going to seem like more than you need, but I promise you're not going to have too many. So now that we got the green bell peppers cut up, we're going to do the exact same thing with the red bell pepper. And then we're going to move on to the onion. I'm going to cut off the top and the root of the onion, and then we're going to slice it in half like so. Peel off that skin, and then we're going to slice up some thin strips just like this. I'm doing 1 medium-sized onion for this cook. And again, this is where you cut up some tomatoes if you're into that. I just don't really care for them here. We're going to mix these veggies up and put them in the fridge until we're ready to cook. I also minced up 3 cloves of garlic off camera, but we're not going to add that until the last minute of the cook. As you can see, it's now dark after letting that steak marinate for a few hours. We have here a hot pan with just a little bit of oil in it, and we're going to start on the fajita vegetables. Add them into the hot pan and make sure everything is mixed really well. We're then going to add a tablespoon or 2 of our fajita seasoning. This is going to add some extra flavor and color. Most people will tell you to cook these less than what I like. I like to get them really soft on the inside, but almost sear them at the end so it has that great crispy texture on the outside. So I probably cooked these for about 5 minutes and then added the garlic. And then I cranked up the heat at the end for about the last minute or so. And now it's off to the grill. I'm cooking this skirt steak hot and fast. I have our charcoal ripping hot, and I'm clearly cooking this directly over them. Just be careful for flare-ups if you're cooking it this way. And with skirt steak, there's a fattier side, so that side will have more flare-ups. This probably cooked for 3 or 4 minutes per side, but use a thermometer to make sure it suits your preferred doneness. This one probably ended up a bit closer to medium than medium rare. But pull that off the grill and let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes before slicing. I like to add some lime juice to it while it rests. I also pour those delicious resting juices on top before slicing it. I sliced it down the middle here, and then I sliced it against the grain. Unless you're slicing it into really tiny pieces, it is very important to slice it against the grain, especially with this cut. It's going to be much more tender with this cut when sliced against the grain. You can see just how juicy this steak is, and cooking it that hot gives us a perfect crust as well. Now I'm going to add this to a plate with the vegetables, and we are ready to serve. All right, look at this. We've got our skirt steak, we've got our fajita vegetables, we've got some homemade pico, some cheese. This is gonna be awesome. All right, I'm gonna go in first with some of these vegetables. It's a nice base layer. Let's grab a little bit of the skirt steak. This looks so good, it's so juicy. We got some of this lime juice, some cotija cheese, spoonful of this pico. Let's give it a try, shall we? That has so much flavor in it. This is unbelievably good. You can find the recipe link in the description below. Leave a comment and let us know what you want to see us cook next, and thanks for watching.